Hey, coach. Yes, you. Let me ask you a question, and I think it's pretty tough. What happens when you do everything right as a coach, but the outcome still isn't what you wanted? You poured into practice, you made the right calls, you stayed disciplined, but the scoreboard didn't reflect the work. That's when you realize something powerful. Obedience isn't about the outcome, it's about the allegiance. So, who or what are you loyal to in the moments that matters more than the numbers at the end of a game? Think about it.
Hey, coach. Yes, you. You feeling burned out? Players not locked in? Parent drama wearing you down? Well, this is the place for you. The Coaches Code podcast, where we help you lead with purpose, protect your peace, and build programs that last. So do me a favor, coach. Subscribe to this channel, hit that bell if you're on YouTube, and share this with another coach who's trying to do it the right way. Your journey just got a whole lot stronger. Welcome to the Coaches Code podcast.
So, welcome. Glad to have you back with me. Um, Definitely appreciate um, you coming in. Thank you for coming in for another episode of the Coaches Code podcast. And of course, for those that don't know, I do have a new book out called Bound by Purpose. And for those that didn't realize, over the course of the show this season, I've had a declaration that I share every single day. And so we're going to go ahead like we always do and open up with this declaration. So it's right there on the screen. So let's take our time and take a look at it and let's read it together. Our Bound by Purpose declaration. I am bound by purpose. I don't need to have it all figured out to be effective. I don't need to be flawless to be faithful. I don't need to be perfect to be honest. I lead others not because I've arrived, but because I've been through the fire and I chose to grow. I will live by the coach's code. I will coach with purpose. I will optimize team dynamics. I will drive success through well being. I will empower through modeling. I am not overwhelmed. I am on assignment. I was built for this. I'm still becoming. And even in the becoming, I am enough. I will finish my assignment with joy. I will steward every moment and every life I touch. And when I fail, I will get back up through God's mercy. I am bound by purpose and I will lead like it. So, like I said, excited about another night to join in with you. You see the title there, Obedience Over Outcomes, Redefining Success in Coaching. So, I'm in year 21, currently at the Evangel Christian Academy here in beautiful Shreveport, Louisiana, where I'm born and raised. The chancellor and pastor who runs the school, Pastor Denny Run, leads the school, and definitely excited about the opportunity that's laid before me this season. And so, of course, with the launch of the book last week coming out, for those that have been taking their time to support, man, I'm definitely grateful. Thank you so much, for sharing. Um, Appreciate you purchasing the book and supporting. And I really believe it's a big blessing, not just for the coach community, but anybody that's a leader. So I'm definitely grateful for that. So, but let's jump right into it. And with tonight's episode with obedience over outcomes. So what does that mean? Redefining success in coaching. Well, so this is where it begins. In this era that we live in, coaching sports, youth sports, is a big deal. $40 billion industry. People are making money out the wazoo. Kids making money. Billions of dollars being made. On TV with collegiate athletics and AAU ball and 7-on-7 and softball tournaments. Everybody has a national tournament. Seems like every week, trainers are training, and just everybody's chasing, 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 chasing. And, and that's okay. Nothing's wrong with that. But the book, as far as, the background and where I'm going with the title of Obedience Over Outcomes is that right now the numbers say there are less than 2% of high school athletes in America that are receiving scholarships to make it to college. That seems like nothing. But we got to understand what's going on. You got tens of millions of American kids that say they want to get a scholarship to school and that they say that they want to be a pro athlete, and that's wonderful, amazing. Nobody's fighting it at all. But the thing about it is happening is that there are a lot more kids who are getting lost in the shuffle right now with their pursuit of trying to, make it in collegiate athletics, trying to get a scholarship, trying to go pro. And so the reason why, in my book, there's a quote that says, as a matter of fact, I'll read it. It's on Monday of week 1. I'm going to turn there in my book, Bound by Purpose, right here. Okay. Found on Amazon. All right. Hopefully y'all can read that. And it reads in the devotional thought. It says, obedience isn't about the outcome. It's about allegiance. It's about allegiance. Okay. Allegiance to what? Who are you pledged to? Who are you sided with? It's just one of those situations where we got to know, what are we committed to as coaches? Who is our ally? We need to know that, and so, it's just one of those things that as coaches, there's so many things that we are pressured into, and we need to have a big picture purpose that we're locked into when we're coaching, because our kids need us. They need the best versions of us to help them. Because if we're talking about less than 2%, I think it's like 1.8% of high school athletes that are getting athletic scholarships, that means there are 99% of high school athletes that are not getting athletic scholarships that are playing sports. What's happening to them? What are the numbers on them? What are they doing with their lives? What are they being encouraged to do when they're chasing the same exact thing as the elite athlete? What is it that we're providing for them as coaches and as parents and leaders and administrators to help that 99% that don't make it in sports? And that's why coaches need to be bound by purpose and not trapped by outcome-based coaching. We don't need to be trapped by that. Coaches are pressured by wins, by rankings, the outcomes of the season. And those things, man, like, I want to win. But guess what? Nobody's going to put more pressure on me on how I achieve that as a coach. I had a conversation, and, conversation's honestly kind of funny. And basically in the conversation, it was just saying that, here in my first year at Evangel, I have no excuses. You know what I'm saying? That got the talent and all this kind of stuff here. And, like, yeah, very, very true. Great situation. Looking forward to putting up a fight. But guess what? There's probably 50 other coaches in the state that feel the same way. Somebody got to win. Somebody got to lose. So I'm not bound by that. That's not pressure for me, because I put pressure on myself to win. But it's how. How is it that every coach, how are they going to get there? What's going to define them as coaches? What is it, the road that's going to be traveled? Because everybody's working hard. Everybody lifting weights, everybody running, everybody conditioning, film stuff. Everybody's doing this stuff. So what's the separating factor? When you got two teams that have equal talent that's fighting to win a championship, what's the difference? It has to be the coaching. It has to be something that's being brought to the table to help the children make their best decisions under pressure, like my old pastor used to say. God created us, men, to make best decisions under pressure. So that being said, Coach, what are you bound by? What's the biggest thing? Yeah, I want to win. Don't none of y'all want to win more than I do. But I'll tell you where my allegiance is. Even though I'm not the perfect person, you don't have to be perfect to be honest. That's part of the declaration. It's how. My wife will tell you there have been wins that I've come home with that I hated because we didn't play the right way. There have been losses that I've accepted as learning experiences because we played the right way. The ball just didn't bounce our way, but I accept the loss. And so I say that because in this time frame, coaches are quitting. Good coaches quitting. They're changing professions. They're retiring early. They're getting out of the profession. It's happening by the droves. And I'm just one of the guys that I don't want to do that yet after 20 years. A lot of good people are leaving the profession. And there are some people that's in it that, man, look, hey, there's some people that's in it that, hey, just like in every profession, everybody ain't doing it for the right reason. That's just the truth. Let's call it like it is. And it looks like people are getting over. But I rest well when I know that I'm teaching my young men the right things. That we're going to come in and we're going to stand on our pillars. Every day we're here to build and develop trust, respect, and unity. Every single day. That's what we come in. That's what we build our team on. The foundation is Christ. And every day we want to make sure that we're developing trust, respect, and unity, being true to the game. That's our acronym. That's something I've been carrying for years now. Knowing that, I'm not skipping our proper footwork and defensive rotations and, teaching the guys how to, read the defense, the backside of the defense on pick and rolls. Like all of those things are constant process that we go through on an everyday basis. Just because our team is the best team that night, that doesn't mean I'm just going to just press, just because I believe we got the most talent. No, I want to win the right way. I want it to look the right way. That doesn't mean I'm the smartest guy on earth. That's not what it means. But I am not pressured at all by what other people think my program should look like. The chancellor, the principal, the athletic directors, people in the community. Yes, I value what's being said, but I am not going to change the way and my approach on every single day, knowing I'm giving my kids what they need. Because remember, go back to what the title, obedience over outcomes. Now, some people say a win is a win. Right. I'll take a win because we need to have wins to move forward. But at the same time, if the process that we're going through is not the process I believe in, then I'm not cool with that. I'm not cool with that. It's not something that I can live with. And so being bound by purpose relieves the pressure for coaches. This book right here, this journal that was created, is to help relieve the pressure from coaches. That's what it's for. Because we need it. We need to be able to be fresh, to be able to discern what our kids need, to be able to have a listening ear when they need us, to try to answer questions for them, to help them through school, through their personal lives. All those things, they need our example. They need us. They just do. And if I have pressure on the outside, if I've been pressure outside of what I believe in, then it gets me off kilter. That's when I start to experience burnout, inconsistency, even identity confusion. I mean, think about that. Identity confusion. That's a real thing that could take place is I can get confused on the identity of my program and get away from what I really believe in. You understand what I'm saying? Because of different results. And so we have to be very, very careful in our position to not get lost in the mix and we get caught up in what other people are doing and how they run their programs and what people expect for us to do or think. We have to be very, very careful not to lose ourselves in that. Don't get trapped by just the outcome. It's about the journey. You want your players that you coach, you want them to be able to enjoy the process that you go through to teach them how to win. That's what you want. And all the time that doesn't equal a win. That's true because you got to have talent to win, but you got to be focused on the road that's being traveled. That's the thing that's what's most important. Making sure that you're not getting caught up in what other people say your program should look like. And you will find yourself in the middle of the season, burnt out and ready to quit. It's just a true thing. So I encourage you right now to make sure that you don't get trapped out of outcome basis. Okay, don't get trapped on what other people think your program should look like. We have to redefine, also what are we obeying? What is it? So in the book, it reads, obedience isn't about the outcome; it's about allegiance. So, of course, I told you that the book came from um, Acts chapter 20, verses 22 through 24. And I'm just going to read it. I'm going to pull it up right here in front of me. I want to read that to make sure I let people know where I'm coming from and where this book was birthed from and what I believe God gave me, first off, to help me, to refocus me on what my job is as a coach and what I should be doing and then leading me into the opportunity. It reads here, Acts chapter 20, verses 22 through 24 reads, and now I am bound by the Spirit to go to Jerusalem. I don't know what awaits me. This is Apostle Paul speaking, except the Holy Spirit tells me in city after city that jail and suffering lie ahead. But my life is worth nothing to me unless I use it for finishing the work assigned to me by the Lord Jesus, the work of telling others the good news about the wonderful grace of God. So for me, my job is to tell people the good news of the wonderful grace of God. And I do it through coaching sports, through coaching basketball. That's my avenue. Yes, I'm there to win. I am. But I'm also there to make sure that I am bound by sharing the good news of the gospel and the grace of God while I'm coaching. Like I told you, I don't have to be perfect to be honest. I don't have to be. The truth is the truth. That's what it is. And it stands alone. And so it's one of those situations that, when you are bound by your purpose and you understand what it is that you're trying to accomplish as a coach, you don't get caught up in what people say. You don't. You don't get caught up in what people think your program should look like. It's not your business to care what they think or how they think your program should be. So for me, just like the scripture where Paul says that he's obeying, even though he didn't know what the outcome was going to be. But my job is to make sure that I share the gospel. I'm there to build a winner through the gospel. And so my allegiance is with Christ. So that means I'm being faithful to the call that God has on my life through my values, my coaching philosophy, and not just the scoreboard. So that means if I walk away and I know that the young men that I'm coaching are learning the lessons that I'm bringing to them on a day-to-day basis, the things that I pray about to talk to and teach them on a day-to-day basis, I'm cool with that. Now, mind you, I have to go back and say this. For those of you that are win at all costs mindset, hopefully you sleep well, okay? But I sleep well even with the seasons that I fell short. I sleep well knowing that I didn't cheat the process. I sleep well knowing that that when there was discipline that was needed, if somebody needed to be suspended for a game, for their behavior or for their grades, I don't let anybody play with the D. Because why? You say you want to be a college athlete, you want to be successful and succeed at anything, and you got D's. How can I coach you? You're showing me that you're not a student. You're showing me that you don't care. You're showing me that you're not invested in what it is that we are trying to do as a program. Okay. So that's why I have to make sure that I'm obeying, because guess what? When a child leaves my program after their senior year, how did I impact them? Did they leave knowing that I loved them? Did they leave knowing that I gave them my best? Did they leave knowing that I tried to maximize their ability to the best that I could on a day-to-day basis? See, those things are questions that's got to matter to us more than just like I said, I'm gonna keep saying this. Don't nobody want to win more than I do. But the reason why I'm content with my career, the highs and the lows, is because I know that I did the best I could to present to my young fellas and to the guys that I've coached, even the girls I've coached, at a time that I gave them what I felt like they needed and what God called me to do. Does that mean I get everything right? Nope, does not mean that. But we have to make sure that we're redefining what success means and understanding how important it is to make sure that you're bound by the right purpose. You got to be bound by the right purpose. Because if you don't, otherwise people will drive you insane. They'll drive you nuts. Okay. So here it is. I'll go back into the first week of my journal, Bound by the Spirit, week 1. Okay. Here's a devotional thought from it. It says, Paul didn't walk into the unknown alone. He followed in the footsteps of Jesus, who once prayed, not my will, but yours be done. So for those that don't know, Jesus had a moment where he was ready to quit. He didn't want to do, like he was having a human moment at that time, but he said, not my will, let yours be done. For you as a coach, what is God's will for you as a coach? What is God calling you to do? What is he nudging at your heart to do with your student athletes on a day-to-day basis to make sure that they know that they're loved and that they're being pushed to be their best? We got to check ourselves. And I promise you, you'll sleep a whole lot better when you know you're doing God's will, because it's easier to please God than it is to please people. You can win 10 straight state championships as a coach, and people are still mad at you for whatever reason. Because it doesn't matter. They don't care. So you got to make sure you're serving your student athletes by the purpose that God has designed you for. So here it is right here for you as a coach, how you can apply this principles for you with your coaching job. Here's the application. With your athletes, teach them character is greater than talent. I always say this. I would never sacrifice character for talent. Have I been challenged in that? Yes. I've had situations where I had players, man, they were really good, but man, their work ethic wasn't right, lazy, didn't want to practice hard, didn't want to act right in the classroom. And sometimes I have to dismiss those players, from the team or not play them. They got to understand that their behavior and how they carry themselves is more important. What they do in the classroom shows up on the court of field. What they do at home shows up on the court of the field. Same thing with us. What's in the dark comes in the light. What we focus on and we prioritize as coaches in our life, it shows up in the high pressure moments. That's what comes. They say pressure busts pipes. That's what happens. My old pastor in Natchitoches said it's about men. Pastor Richard Stampley say, God created men to make our best decisions under pressure. That's what he created us for. So as coaches, I coach that way. I try to teach my guys the best decisions to make in the classroom, the best decisions to make when they're with their friends, the best decisions to make when they're on the court or on the field. That's what I try to do as a coach. I don't just yell and scream about get tough. You ain't playing hard enough. No, I'm asking them, is that your hardest? Is that your best effort? Was that the best decision for the team? What did we work on in practice? Is that the rotation we worked on? Why did you go for that steal and give up that layup? Why did you drop to get the block out so we can get the rebound? You see, all those things, that's character. That's character coaching. So when you just yelling and screaming about something that you didn't teach, then what? How is that fair? If you don't go over the expectations with the team that you're coaching and you just fussing, you wrong, coach. You're wrong. If you didn't teach it to them, you don't have the right to try to hold them accountable in front of people. Your kids looking at you crazy. We ain't practiced that, coach. I don't know what he was mad about. That's why we have to be bound by purpose. Make sure that what's more important than the X's and O's is making sure that we're developing the character of our program. But that means our character has to be developed. If you're in the middle of that process, then what you do is be transparent about that. Be transparent about it. Look, guys, I ain't perfect at this. I'm doing my best. I'm trying, but let's get it together. You can do that with these kids. They'll accept that. They'll take that if you give them the leeway. So teach your players that character is greater than talent. Help them to understand what that means. Wins will come. They'll come. Sometimes it takes longer to develop the character and develop their skill. Wins come, but obedience to team standards is what lasts. Think about that. What are your standards? If you're bound by purpose, what are the standards that develop your program? What do people know about your team? When they see their team, how is it defined when they come and they look at your program? What can people say that your team is being obedient to? I think about that. Because me, I do. I know our teams have always been defined. Man, them boys play hard. Hey, I'll take that. They play hard. How did I get them to play so hard? Because I developed their character. I teach them about their manhood, about the way that they play the game. People judge them by the way they play the game. And the work ethic and the character you're developing is going to help you get a job, have a family, start your own business, whatever it is that you want to do. But when we only focus on just developing the X's and O's and the skill, we're missing it, guys. We're missing it. And so, like I said, I just want to encourage us. What are you bound by? What is your purpose overall? You got to know that it's more than just, well, I want to help kids. How? I want to win championships. How? Why? Like, you got to have that because it helps to keep you grounded. It keeps you from losing your mind. Because my goal for coaches is for us to have a stress-free environment for us to get back to enjoying what we do. Because right now, I've talked to several coaches, man. They got headaches, man. They're tired. They're tired. But why? Because we're being pulled in so many different directions, and we don't have the opportunity to focus on what it is. So, like I said, what Jesus says, "Not my will, but yours be done." Okay, I got to make sure that the will that I'm following is bigger than just saying I want to win. It's got to be bigger than that. And if you don't know, get you a mentor. Find an older coach. Some of these retired coaches that hang around here that had long 30 and 40-year careers that were able to last. They can help us. They can help us. Okay? Here goes another coaching application with your staff. Build unity through transparency, not just outcomes. Okay, so what does that mean? Build unity through transparency, not just outcomes. Take a moment and just think about it for a second before I say something on that. Build unity through transparency, not just outcomes. That means I want my team to grow, I want my staff to grow based on us being honest with each other about our motives, about our drive, about our goals, what you want to accomplish, how we want to get there. When we're honest about that with each other, I want to build my unity through that, not just we're a winning program. I want to join that staff because they win. No, it's bigger than that. It's not just that. Any staff that I have, I give them the leeway. I tell them, if I'm out of line, help me. If I'm misreading something, help me. Tell me. Pull me in the office on the side. I ask them every single day, is there something that I missed today? Is there something that I need some help with? Did I say this the right way to this kid? Did I handle that situation correctly? Any staff I've had, I've been able to say that because I want my staff to trust me. They want to trust me, and I want to trust them. So for coaches, for us, you want to make sure that the purpose that you have, that is so great that you build that team through that purpose and not just the outcomes. Because you can win games with low character. You can. You can have so much talent on your team, you can win games. But I beg to disagree that you can win championships. This is me. I can be dead wrong. I don't know everything. It's just an opinion. But I have to share that. So even the seasons that we lost out, I still didn't question our character. Sometimes we didn't have enough talent. I mean, that's okay. So here's another coaching application for you with your parents and your community. We have to let the community that we have behind us understand what your process is for growing the program. Because if not, they're going to dictate that. They're going to tell you and they're going to tell your kids what your team should look like. And when you do that and you try to figure out, this is one of the things I had an old coach tell me this years ago. They said, you can tell what the parents think about you as a coach, how their children act. I want you to think about that. If your players have this certain attitude towards you, then you know the conversations that the parents are having with the kids or what the parents are saying around them. Bottom line, it ain't nothing for you to question. You know. That's why you have to have a purpose. You have to know why you're doing what you're doing. And when you do that, it keeps that foundation set. And it also keeps a North Star where you're following to keep your program from going all over the place. When you know this is how we're going to do it, this is why we're doing it, and you're able to articulate that on a day-to-day basis. So the journal that I wrote called Bound by Purpose, the reason why it was written was because of that, because I needed to be reminded what my purpose was. I had to go back. I had to go back and look at my old notes and have conversations with mentors, guys that I respect and I look up to. I only have one mentor that's not with me. Coach Dave Bryant passed away a few years ago. We just had the anniversary of his death a couple of weeks ago, and I'm not able to talk to him. Spend a lot of time talking to him, but I have other coaches that I can call or former coaches I can call to check myself. And so this journal was written out of that because I got lost over the last 2-3 years. I got lost, man. I did. I can admit that. And for me to be graced with the opportunity to come to Evangel Christian Academy and have a chance to do this over again in a Christian-based environment and also have athletes that care and that are serious, man, I'm blessed. And so this journal that I'm telling y'all about, I didn't just write it. I use it. I use it. It's something that I have on hand. I have a digital copy of it as well. Okay. And so it's something that I use. So here is now, let's go to the shift as we get close to the end here. Let's go to the shift, from outcomes to allegiance. So the reason why I'm going to that is because allegiance builds sustainability. Okay. Because when outcomes fall short, the mission stays intact. Because the bottom line is you're not going to win every game. Everybody's not going to win a championship. But what has to stay consistent is why we're playing the game and how we're going to play it. And you have to be okay with the outcome, knowing that you did not cheat what you believe in. That's why you have to be bound by the right purpose. And when you're bound by that and you're entangled and you're chained to what you believe in, when you do that, then what happens is no matter what the outcome, you can still rest. You can still rest. You can still show up to your job every single day, enjoying doing what you're doing because you know that you're not cheating the process. And that is the thing that we want to make sure that as coaches, that we're focused on the process on an everyday basis and that we're not cheating that. It lets people know and it reminds you who you're aligned with. My allegiance is to Jesus Christ. Now, like I told y'all, does that mean I get everything right? It does not. But it keeps me anchored. And it reminds me, okay, this is why we're doing what we're doing. I was watching this season's Faith Family Football by the Evangel Football Programs, and it was based on last season. I think right now, up to this point, it was like 1-5. And Pastor Duron is staying committed to the call. Losing close games and a lot of frustration going on, but he would not flip out and go crazy because he knows every day he's ministering to these kids' needs. He's there for them. He's providing what they need. He's sharing the gospel with them on on a day-to-day basis. And we're just falling short right now. We know we got the talent, we got a young team, but I can rest in knowing I'm giving these guys what they need. And so that's very, very, very encouraging. Very encouraging. Just to know that you have a leader like that who knows that, hey, I'm here to win, but at the same time, I could sleep well knowing that we're not cheating. So when you have allegiance with the right things and you know what that is, then you can sustain. You can withhold the tough times. You can make it through. You can be encouraging to the people around you because you're gonna fall short, but the mission has to stay intact. So even losing seasons can still be successful if players grow in resilience, responsibility, and purpose. Resilience just has means you have the ability to bounce back. That's what that means. So even if you're not winning games, like I went through 0 and 22. Okay. I went through that. Even though I did not like not winning and not competing for a championship that season, I was still content because I'm like, okay, we don't have the talent, but guess what? These guys are doing what it is that I'm asking them. They're doing what it is that their attitudes are well. They're showing up every single day. They're asking questions. They're making good grades in class. They're not getting in any trouble. Like all of those things, they were still doing. The bottom line is we just didn't have the talent. But I didn't let that dictate how I coached. So if we had a night that was a tough night and it felt like the guys might have been a little out of it, I'll call a timeout and I have to remind them, hey guys, hey, how are we supposed to be playing this game? Are we playing with character right now? Are we doing our assignments? Are we communicating? Is our attitude good? And they'll go right back out and keep on trying to do the things that I'm teaching. I'm proud of that. I am. I'm proud of that group. I told y'all the toughest group that I've ever coached. They showed up every day. 5 kids didn't have a chance to win a game talent wise, but their character was developed. And so as coaches, when we're bound by purpose and we have an allegiance with our purpose, and like I said, mine is to share the grace of God through the gospel. That's what mine is, and I get to do that freely at Evangel Christian Academy. I'm bound to that now. I'm bound to it. And so if I got a kid out there who has some talent and ability, but his character's not where it needs to be, he's not going to be rewarded with playing a lot. It's not. And I've always been that way because I care about you as a person. Allegiance sustains your spirit as a coach. It sustains your emotion as a coach. It keeps you from going nuts. It protects you from burning out. You get tired, but you're not burnt out. That's a difference. We're going to get tired. That's okay. But you're not burning out. You see the difference in what I'm saying there? Burning out, ready to quit, ready to throw in the towel when you know you're staying true to what it is that you believe. So that's imperative. It's important. Yes, don't get it. Please don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. I want to win. I want to win district. I want to win state championship. I'm not afraid to say that. Whoever's in our way, we are busting our tails to win every game. But I'm not going to burn out on my guys because I allow other people to dictate what success is for our program. Can't do it. Coaches, y'all need to be encouraging each other, okay? Holding each other accountable, check on each other. You know what I'm saying? We should do that. I'm glad I have a small circle of guys. We check on each other every now and again. Conversation ain't gotta be long. Just checking in. I got a couple of coaches, they send scriptures every morning. Every morning. We'll speak a little bit, little quick conversation. So man, have you somebody in your circle, okay, that you can communicate with, and also who can check you when you're wrong. Okay? You gotta be able to have people around you like that because you want to stay bound by the correct purpose. Okay. So as we close out for the night, Coach, you weren't called to control the outcomes. Okay. Understand it. Don't drive yourself crazy. I did it. I did. I'm guilty. Like, man, I'm not telling you stuff just because I did it right. I'm telling you stuff that I did wrong. You were not called to control the outcome. You were called to stay faithful to your assignment. Okay? Stay faithful to that. Don't jump off of that. Understand it is bigger than the game you're coaching. Like, it is what it is. The numbers say 99% of the kids that you have are not going to be scholarship athletes. And guess what, y'all? Every situation is different. But overall, we talking about here in America. Come on, man. What we going to do with the 99%? We just going to coach sports and then just send them on their way? No, we got to give them something. Give them something for their memories, their relationships that's going to help them be good mothers, good fathers, good employees, husbands and wives. Okay? So remember that, coach, you were not called to control the outcomes. You were called to stay faithful to your assignment. Okay? And so what my book here, I keep on showing y'all, Bound by Purpose, that's what it's for. To help you stay in control of your assignment. You can find it on Amazon. My name is Eddie J. Hamilton. You can find it on Amazon, of course, in the bio, the description. There, you're going to see it on all my social media pages. You're going to see it. It's been doing pretty well. I'm definitely blessed to have people out there to support the mission. Um, Even now, you'll see me start to talk a little bit more about offering workshops to help because I am on a mission to help coaches to not burn out and to enjoy what we're doing and make sure that our hearts are in the right places and that we're showing up as our best selves on every single day. So check out my book, Bound by Purpose, on Amazon. Eddie J. Hamilton is my name. And I got a challenge for you before we close out. Write down one area in your coaching where you've been outcome obsessed. Just write it down. Then ask yourself, what would allegiance look like here? Now, what does that mean? What does it look like? How do people take what it is that how I'm coaching and my purpose for coaching, and I'm just outcome based simply on winning and losing? And then they're able to turn around and say, okay, what is he pledged to? What is he allied to? Like, just think about that. Because we got to check ourselves. Because a lot of times we go crazy over these wins and losses. And sometimes we're skipping the steps on giving our kids what they need to go out there and compete at the highest level. So let's check ourselves. All right. Remember, Bound by Purpose, found on Amazon. There we go. Go check it out. I appreciate y'all for being with me tonight. Beautiful night here. Guess what, y'all? I'm going to bed. All right. Hope to see you next. Y'all stay tuned now with football season started. Of course, we do know there's Monday Night Football coming up. So I'm definitely going to be respectful for those who are fans. So we might be shifting nights that we do the podcast. I'll continue doing the podcast until basketball season. Basketball season is when I take the break. I want to make sure I'm totally focused on my mission with the kids. But I'll still be available to any coaches that need any assistance with program development. Okay. And we're helping you get through your season. So look, love you much. All y'all. Looking forward to the next time. See y'all on next Monday. Y'all be on the lookout for content on